This conference will now be recorded.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I am here to talk about our reptile ambassadors. But before we meet our reptile ambassadors, I wanted to give you a little bit of background about the animals that we will be talking about later. With that, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to go to the PowerPoint that I have that goes over some of that information. And I'm going to see if I can view that screen. So just give me a moment. There we go. And I'm sharing and I'm going to see how I can do that. Okay, so, okay, stop sharing and we'll share again. Okay. Show picture in picture. Let me see. Are you guys, give me a raise of the, or a finger thumbs up if you can actually see my screen that's shared. Okay, good. Okay. Interesting, because I'm just going to pop on here and see it. There we go. All right, so we're here to talk about the reptiles, and I gave it like a title, Reptile Rendezvous, because I thought that would be kind of an interesting title. Well, here in Florida, we do have, it's not fancy. Okay, no, hide. There we go. There we go. There are actually 6 different species of venomous snakes. I know that probably doesn't sound like a lot, or to some people, it may sound like a lot, depending. Now, venomous snakes have venom, but that is not to mean that they're necessarily bad snakes. They just need venom to help them digest their food. So venom is an aid in digestion of the process of eating for these snakes. So the 6 species are here in Florida, and more than 40 are actually non-venomous. So I think that's really says it right there that most of the time there are mistaken identities for these snakes. They're not all venomous, and they're not poisonous. Poison venom is very different. Poison, I like to think of it like this. Poison is something that you can touch or eat. When I think of poison ivy or poison oak, or even like poison dart frogs in the rainforest. Now, there are only 4 of these venomous snakes that reside here in Central Florida. And those are what you guys mentioned before, coral snake to the far right, and their distribution map below them with the bright yellow. And then we have the pygmy, also called the dusky pygmy rattlesnake, which is quite all over the state and up in the northern portions of, the Panhandle as well, and up in the Carolinas and Georgia. So they're a pretty good distribution. And then we have, there's a couple of different names for this one as well. The second one is the cottonmouth, aka water moccasin. Now those are a bit distributed as well, as you can see on the map. Now, oftentimes the cottonmouth and the banded water snake will actually get confused because they do kind of look similar. But there are striking features, especially that mouth when it's open. They got their name from the whiteness of the inside of their mouth looking like cotton, hence the name cottonmouth. And then, of course, the first one, the one that was mentioned before when we were talking before I started the presentation as, yes, the eastern diamondback rattlesnake. Diamondback, because of course on its back, there's shapes of diamonds that are in the pattern. But that also helps to camouflage these animals in the leaf litter where they're found. And unfortunately, the distribution for this particular snake is not as vast as the others. And it's kind of concerning that this particular snake is not distributed as widely. So those are the venomous snakes. Now we're going to talk about some of the non-venomous snakes. We have more than 40, as I mentioned before, some of which are common snakes that you will find actually in our Lyonia Preserve and oftentimes, sometimes in your backyard, depending on where you live. These happen to include black racers, like the one that's up at the top right corner. The distinctive features of the black racer is that black glossy kind of jet black color marking, and they have the white color marking underneath their chin. It's hard to see this at times because they do live up to their namesake, black racer, because they are quite fast. Then we also have our rat snakes, which I will go over some more in a little bit, but the most common ones we see are the ones that I have pictured here, the yellow and the red. But we also have garter snakes as well. Here's stories that visitors have come in and they call it a garden snake. Well, most of the time it's a garter snake, and it's sometimes confusing the garter and the garden. King snakes we have in our area as well, and I'll go over them. And water snakes, which I was talking about earlier. The one at the far bottom right here is oftentimes confused with the cottonmouth or water moccasin. And, I guess, I can see if you're not aware of the different types of venomous and non-venomous snakes that we have, especially if you moved here from another state or have never seen these types of snakes before. I can honestly understand why the differences are hard to tell. And of course, I really do have a unique likeness for hognose snakes. They actually are not seen very often, but they have this unique way of preventing being eaten by playing dead. And what they'll do is they'll lay on their backs, playing like they are dead, and with their mouth gaping open and their tongue stretched out as to get away from predators. And then we have ringneck snakes. Now the one on the bottom left, that is a scarlet king snake, and that is oftentimes confused with our coral snake. You probably have heard red next to yellow, kill a fellow, red next to black, friend of Jack. Well, most of the time, you don't really have to worry too much about coral snakes because they are very good at getting away from us and hiding under sidewalk crevices and in areas underneath leaf litter. And they really are very pretty snakes. But there is, the element of venom, so you have to be extremely careful and know how to identify them. They are actually a member of the cobra family. Now we do have our rat snakes. Only two species that are really prevalent here in Florida are the red rat snake, also known as the corn snake, and the gray rat snake. Now the red rat snakes range in colors, and it'll be interesting for you to see our very own animal ambassador that's a corn snake in a little bit. They can range from yellowish tan to an orange with sometimes rusty red kind of blotches. And what's really cool about their pattern on their belly underneath is kind of reminds me of this time of year on Thanksgiving, harvest corn. It's kind of black and white checker pattern on their belly scales. And they typically range in size from about 30 to 48 inches. So they're not large snakes. And gray rat snakes are typically found closer to our Florida Panhandle region. And they average about 42 to 72. So like, 4-5 feet average. Now, average being that there are some that go beyond or below that average. There are some pictures of the corn snakes on the left, top left. That is a red rat snake with the true color phase of red. And then our yellow rat snakes, which are not as common in this particular area. It's not to say that they're not here, they're just not as common. And they are also known as chicken snakes because they're very good at climbing and getting baby chicks and birds' eggs. So that's kind of a unique thing that they can do with being climbers and being so good at it. They have also those striking long band, longitudinal bands down up from their head to their tail of brown stripes. And then of course our gray rat snake at the bottom. Now this is one that looks very similar to our own corn snake. This is a different color phase. It's called amelanistic. So melon is the color of the pigment in the skin, and being an amelanistic corn snake, he would not do very well out in the wild. He would sort of stick out like a sore thumb, and he's very brightly colored. He just has more of the orange pigment in his scales versus the red. And he even has red eyes. Now he doesn't have albinism in him. He basically just has more orange than red. Now, if he were albino, he would be all white with red eyes. So no color to the scales and with red eyes. King snakes. Now, king snakes are here in Florida, and we have a couple of different kinds, but in our collection, we have our Brooks king snake. The Florida king snake is his cousin, so it's kind of like we have cousins, but we don't really look like our cousins, so they're different. They have crossbands with a combination of yellow and black, kind of salt and pepper background. Whereas our particular Brooks king snake, you'll see, has a different pattern than the Florida king snake. Same, but only different. Most likely they get their name because they do eat other snakes. They also eat rodents, birds. They're king of snakes because they can actually eat venomous snakes as well. Not to say that they don't react to the venom, it just doesn't hurt them. So they're able to consume them without being harmed. And they typically, king snakes in general, can average anywhere from 3 to 4 feet. Again, like I say, that's an average. There are some that are shorter, and some that are longer. And they can be very large, powerful snakes because what they use is the strength of their muscles because they are strong snakes. They are not like our rat snakes that are known as the true constrictors, which basically when they pursue prey, They grab a hold of the prey and then they'll wrap their body around it and squeeze or constrict. And once that animal takes a breath, they'll just continue to squeeze. These snakes, the king snakes, will use the weight of their body and kind of not constrict as much as the rat snakes. They will kind of use that weight to kind of subdue the prey. And here are some king snakes that we have in Florida. And like I mentioned, the top left, there is the cousin to our Brooks king snake, which is the bottom picture. You can see how their patterns are different. And so they're cousins, and especially the scarlet king snake differs way more color and more vibrant than the Florida king snake and the Brooks king snake. The Brooks king snake is like a salt and pepper kind of coloration, where the Florida king snake is more of a black and white blotched kind of pattern. The scarlet king snake has the opposite colorations. It's that mimicry. It's that I look like something that's venomous, but I am not myself venomous. But if you look like something that's venomous, you may not have a hard time surviving in the wild, because most of the animals will stay away from you. Especially that bright red color in nature is danger to most animals. So the pattern for the scarlet king snake is the red next to black, friend of Jack. Kind of like a stoplight too. You can go red next to yellow, stop. Red next to black, go. It's kind of your own way of learning which is which. But we don't want to pick up any wild snakes. We just want to admire them from a distance and appreciate them for their niche in the ecosystem, which is controlling the rodent population. Because rodents can carry diseases, and I, for one, do not want those diseases. All reptiles, like I said, play an important role in our ecosystem. So now it's time to play the video and meet some of our very own reptile ambassadors. All right, so I'm going to go back into my file and play the video. Hi, everybody. Melissa here. Can you guys see that before I continue on? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, so I'm going to try to get it. Okay, let's share the screen again and see if I can get that to pull up. Bear with me. Thank you for being so patient. What about now? Okay, hold on one second. We'll check it out and see what we can do here. Sorry, guys. Looks like I'm frozen. Okay, let's see. There we go. Okay, we're gonna hide this. Okay. Can you guys see it now? Awesome. Thank you.
We can't hear the video.
Oh, you can't? Okay, hold on. Okay. All right. Let me. All right, let me do the settings here and see what it is doing. Okay. Okay. I changed that just in case. See if that's gonna work. And then speakers. Let me see. Let me try this again. Let me know. Can you hear it now?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Wait, it went off. It went out again. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I just don't know what you're hearing on your end. That's completely fine. I can just play around with some stuff on my end to see if there's any way we can fix that. What about now?
No, we can't.
So what are your speakers on? When you joined, what did you have for your audio? It's really you, but do you have
It's
your,
just
go ahead, I'm sorry.
it's just the default, the speaker.
Okay, so maybe do mine as default. Let me see if that will work. Now?
No, ma'am.
Oh goodness, this is frustrating. I'm sorry, guys.
It's
I'm gonna
totally
try.
fine. No stress.
Well, I feel bad because I want you to see this.
No, don't feel bad. You can figure it out.
Okay, let me see if I turn it on the Epson. You guys are so awesome for being so understanding. I'm gonna try all I can. Hmm. Nothing?
No, nothing.
Mm-mm-mm. Let me see if it's actually in the video that I can cast to device. I'm trying to connect it to my device and maybe it'll work. Just talk to one another. That's all we need you to do. It's just talk. It's trying to connect. If nothing else, I can also send it to you in the email you provided and you can just watch it if you'd like that too.
That works too. Whichever is easier.
Because I don't. Let's see. Because I definitely want you to see it. You have any questions for me about anything I've gone over so far?
No, I don't think so. Very
Have you
interesting though.
guys? Yeah, it is interesting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of from different perspectives, you don't really know what familiarity. Like you guys obviously have more familiarity because of being exposed to it, but a lot of people don't really know a lot about snakes.
Yeah, I actually had never heard of the hognose snake. That was
Oh, I
interesting.
know. That's cool, right?
Yeah, it was very interesting.
Okay, so it should start. No, nothing.
Mm-mm. No,
Okay,
we can
what
see
are we?
it, but we just can't hear.
I know it's hard to like. Oh goodness, this is going to be me sending it to you, I think, because I don't want to
Okay.
keep you here and troubleshooting all this. But basically, what you'll see is I have 1, 2, 3 snakes that I've taken out, and I talk about each of them and the unique features they have, what they eat, how big they are, how different they are from other snakes, and just a glimpse. We have, I wanted to just focus for this particular program on our native snakes because they are what we're going to encounter most likely in our area. We do have a ball python and we do have a Southern California king snake, which is quite different. But of course, those are non-native to our area. And you guys had a ball python, so I'm sure you're familiar with the ball pythons, but they too also have many different varieties, like color phases. Have you seen the different color phases in the ball pythons?
No, I haven't. Just like the
Oh, wow.
original.
Yeah, there's breeders that will um, breed different ball pythons, and the color phases are unique.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, there's